In a world where Nintendo stops messing around and brings back the big updates, incorporates the features we are crazy about, and delivers the characters the fans have been waiting for.
Man, that sounds like a really great world. I'd love to be a part of it. Too bad it's not real. Or is it? What's up, guys and girls? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and I'm back with an exclusive report that just may rock your world. So make sure to smash that like button and let me know in the comments down below what you think of the delicious data I am about to infect your soul with. Because this is going to really activate the hype cycle inside of you. And this ain't just hidden abbreviations in the game that might mean new items, although we do have an update on that. Today I'm talking about a bigger island and a full-blown restaurant. Yeah. If you recall, recently we talked about a data mine from update 1.10 that looked like it was targeting features to maybe come in update 2.0. We talked about them adding camera options for a cafe entrance. We talked about them adding notes for a third level of the museum, and this gave us a hope. And this gave us an idea. Speaking of hopes and ideas, oh my God, really, you might be thinking the right thing. It might be time. It might be divine. My water park needs somebody a little bit slipperier. Okay, I'll talk to you a little bit later, but I gotta talk to these people about, it really seemed like they were gonna be making some big updates to the museum and to the cafe, and that got us really excited. You can check that whole video if you want to go through all those details specifically, but now I have even more. And the really good news is in that video I told you guys that maybe there's a chance that this wasn't even an actual truth, that this data mine wasn't coming from the same source, and then it seemed a bit fishy to me, which felt very appropriate given that I'm building a water park. But alas, since then, my friends, I have confirmed without a doubt that this data is real, that this data mine from before and what I'm about to tell you is truly coming from the code. I've seen it with my own eyes. The matrix has been revealed to me, and it is so freaking exciting. I had to bring you more. And this is super cool because this builds beyond just mentions of a mere camera setting. This gets crazier in a number of ways, so we've got to dig in, okay? Hold on to your butts. Make sure that you don't fling the popcorn when you hear what I have found out. All right, sit her down and let's dig in. I'm data-oriented and we go with the facts. If it's in the code, we can build from there, we can discuss from there, but it's gotta be real. And that is why we start with this data that you might recognize from last time. Evidence of fence customization, evidence of third museum floor, cafe entrance, camera settings, dialogue changes when you're talking to a crafting villager, South Shore baseline, zit, right there. Hold the phones. South Shore baseline 500 was changed to South Shore baseline 1000. This is effectively doubling the size of the South Shore baseline, which means the distance you can travel at the southern border of your island. Now, this was expanded when you went from just being a little beach dweller, a little sand gobbler, and you dove into the waters with Pascal and deep sea creatures. This happened last summer, but why would Nintendo be incorporating code that could eventually change and double the size of the South Shore baseline? It doesn't seem like this is implemented yet, but it seems like it's something that they are going to be or could be adding. And we have to think, what could that mean? More room for you to swim is one option. A bigger island is another option. And there's a third option, but let's touch on the first two before we get there. One, more space to swim. Now, if there is more space to swim, I would imagine this is because they are going to greatly expand the activities or the things that you can do while diving. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like because we already have, Pascal popping with his scallops. And we already have the ability to dive down and swim and mash the button to swim a little quicker. Could there be something additional added to diving to require a bigger basin with which to doggy paddle? Maybe. Or maybe they just want you to go further to expand the scope, or maybe the island itself is going to grow. Now that one sounds very interesting, and it sounds very exciting, and it kind of ties into some of the things we've been discussing in terms of adding a new shop, adding more features, and bringing in the Roost, Cafe, and Brewster. But would they just stretch the island? Or could this be something a little bit different, like allowing you to terraform on the beach, and so they need to extend the beach, they need to extend the parameters? It's very tough to know. The third option I have is that it's expanded to facilitate some new character coming aboard. And when we think about some of the things we've talked about, we've wanted, we've hypothesized, there's this idea that maybe Cap'n, maybe Tortimer would arrive via the sea. Now, I don't know if that would necessitate a bigger, expansive southern shore border, but maybe if something was going to come and approach from the south or involve the airport, the seaplane, our docks, maybe it would need a bigger border to somehow allow you to, say, hop on this boat and soar off to another island. I can't quite know for sure, and honestly, no one can, but this is very interesting, and it's quite curious. I'd love to know what you guys think they could do with an expanded shore baseline. Just more swimming, somehow a bigger island, a new feature in the water, or even a boat/character. But to me, that isn't even the most exciting part, because the most exciting part comes now, and it starts small, but then it builds, and it's got me so freaking pumped. But I want to tell you, like, with this Datamine stuff, these things are in the game, but they're not yet activated most often. So when we see things talking about, a third museum floor, we see things talking about a cafe, they're there, they're put there, and they're kind of lying dormant. So when you see these things, it's not like, oh my God, go search in the game, where is it? It's more like it's waiting to potentially be turned on. Think of it like a switch, right? And currently, these pieces of data, these pieces of code that we're talking about, they're flipped off, and Nintendo could flip them on, they could change them, they could hide them. Many things have happened, but I want to get into this, okay? Remember this from last time? We have these new held items with these interesting abbreviations. Well, first off, it has been brought to my attention that maybe we have the answer to some of those items. CNUT could stand for coconut. GLDR could represent glass. TRWL, trowel. DSTK, dish stack. PITC, pitcher, and SPNR, spanner R. Now, I want to focus on the three in the middle: trowel, dish stack, and pitcher. What does this sort of sound like? A dish stack? What we doing? Cleaning update? No, my friends. I am here to say that there's evidence that cooking may be coming back. And why back? Because cooking really hasn't been there. Well, we thought before that there was going to be a big cooking update. It was rumored and heavily shown in the data mine that there was things about cooking, things about recipes, and then it never materialized. We got pumpkins in the fall, our big farming toodaloo, and then nothing else happened. So we kind of said, hey, maybe cooking was all related to Franklin and related to Turkey Day, and that was it. But this is what we found in the code since. Capture cooking icon, M food power N, and M food power T. These three things, and there could be more, seem to indicate that cooking could be a bigger piece of the puzzle once more. Because food power seems to indicate that food would be granting you power, aka a buff, aka a boost, in the same way that when you eat a fruit currently, it grants you a power. It grants you a boost and a buff, right? You now have the strength to chop down a tree. It gives you an ability. You now have the strength to dig out a tree. It gives you the ability. You now have the strength to dig out a tree, right? You have the strength to smash that rock. You can do things and buff your character in a way that your villager wasn't capable of before. So what kind of powers could food give us, and what does this tie into? Well, when you put two and two together, you put this cooking icon together, which sounds like something to indicate cooking is happening, and you put food power together, and you put together the idea of a trowel, a glass, a dish stack, and a pitcher, and then you combine that with this idea of, hey, a cafe entrance, camera settings. You start to get this picture of maybe more than just a simplistic cafe where you sip a beverage. It starts to paint the picture of a cafe that sounds a lot more like a full-blown restaurant. Now, any way, shape, or form he arrives, Brewster would absolutely be an amazing big deal. But what if the reason he's been held back, and what if the reason he hasn't arrived, is because he's up to bigger things? What if the cafe, the roost, the expansion museum, or otherwise expansion into a new building is actually more monumental to the gameplay than we have thought possible? Yes, Brewster used to house a cafe where you could grab a beverage and even work there to help supply other villagers with their own beverages. But what if it's been taken a step further? What if this idea of recipes, of dish stacks, of cooking icons and food powers has now converted into a full-blown operation where Brewster is helping make meals for your island, and you can partake as an employee of Brewster's Roost and help build these meals. Now, this is my own imagination speaking, but you can see how you can start to tie everything together. All of a sudden, farming becomes the food and the ingredients for these recipes that provide this food power that require a cooking icon and a dish stack and a pitcher, because now you're making a meal. You're making things to drink, you're making things to eat, and now the Roost isn't just a 1.11 update. The Roost really feels like it could be the biggest thing to ever happen to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Whether that's part of a big 2.0 free update or whether that's part of a paid expansion pass, all of a sudden, this is monumental. And this isn't just something that you show up and say hi to Brewster because he's friends with Lloyd, and you say hi to Brewster because, oh my gosh, he sips the coffee. It's like, no, now Brewster and the Roost is the place where you're going to be spending a ton of time because there's so many new features all tied into one. The Roost isn't just representative of Brewster and this head scratcher of why is Nintendo playing so coy on this pigeon character who was, yeah, fans love him, but he's not like the biggest deal in AC. But maybe he is the biggest deal in AC because for this game, his role, his building, and his craft is getting bigger and better than ever before. And it's merging with the new themes of ACNH in terms of crafting DIYs to now use recipes as their own sort of food-based DIY. Do you see where I'm going with this? It could be huge. Like always though, deep breath. It could just be Nintendo experimenting. It could be testing out, or it could be labeling things in a way that seems one way to us, but really they view it a different way. This data is all legit. It's all in the code. This is all fact that it's there. So we can really trust and try to build what Nintendo might be making. But there is a chance that it ends up being just simple code for something far more menial or far more minimal, or something that Nintendo ends up not using. I just want to put that out there like I mention every video so I can be as honest with you as possible. Remember, hashtag trust SwitchForce. I want to give you guys the good data, the good info, and I want to get you excited for what could be, but I also want to keep it realistic. And yet at this point, because I have confirmed that this code is real, and because there seems to be more and more building towards some sort of cafe, restaurant, cooking Brewster Fest, it really seems like the thing we've been waiting for is probably the big thing coming. Now, we'll talk later on if it's coming at E3, if it's coming for money, or if it's coming for free. But right now, I want to let this sizzle a little, right? I want to let it sit in that frying pan, okay? I want to see what you guys think about this idea of a full restaurant experience coming to ACNH in Brewster's Roost, in the cafe. And if you have any crazy ideas of why they would expand the bottom perimeter of the island, of the world, of the ocean, and what that could be used for. So get typing. I want to hear what you guys think. Make sure to smash that like button to show some love and support. I appreciate you guys. I love that we get to share this excitement together. The down moments and the high moments. And I feel like a high moment is coming up soon. So stay tuned. This could be so cool. I love you guys so much. Make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive and smart out there. Thanks for being a part of our awesome community. We got the best family here on YouTube. It feels so good to say hi, hello, high five, and hug each and every day. I'll see you on the next video. Until that time, though, everybody, thanks again for watching. I love you lots. SwitchForce out.